Hello scholars, welcome back to this video. We will be learning today rectification of errors and also we will fix profits. So look at this data and the question requirement first because you have been given some statistics or the profit figure which is incorrect figure, and this incorrect figure of profit need to be corrected after you rectify all the errors. So let's begin our question. But first, you need to just look into the question statement. You have been given these information or these investigation findings after you have calculated the profit. But you came to know that some errors were occurred. Due to those errors, your profit was not correct one, and incorrect figure of profit is given to you. What you're going to do here, you need to just pass the rectifying entry and then you need to fix the profit. So let's jump into the first statement and let's fix it. Journal entry number 1. The company entered a 4 years 800,000 service contract on 1st January with entire contract paid upfront by the customer. The company initially debited cash and credited unearned revenue for this amount. No entries were made during the year. Actually, when we entered into the service contract for 4 years, the customer has already paid us entire money, but according to the recognition of revenue concept, the revenue would be recognized only when we deliver the goods or provided the services. Because in this paragraph, we understood that revenue will be recognized in 4 years' time. After each year, we need to recognize the revenue because we will be able to perform the contract obligation or performance obligation. So let's see that what has happened already. They recorded this entire money received as cash, and unearned revenue was credited because this was your liability for 800,000. So 800,000 was recorded cash received in advance and 800,000 was your liability. Actually, in the beginning of the time, this was not your earned revenue. But after passing 1 year, you should have recognized the revenue for 1 year only because the contract will go for 4 years times. So according to this, 800,000 divided by 4, it gives you 200,000 each year rent earned revenue. So now you need to rectify this because no entry was made during the year for recognition of revenue. We need to recognize now what need to be done. We need to reduce the liability as an adjusting entry. Unearned revenue would be debited and earned revenue would be credited because we have performed the performance obligation for 1 year time. So earned revenue would be credited by 200,000. Now, due to this adjustment, you can imagine that 200,000 is increase of your revenue and reduce of your liability. Because of this increase of your revenue, your profit would also increase, and ultimately the profit given to you already would also increase. So this is your unadjusted profit or the profit before any errors and mistakes. So just let's add 200,000 in it because we are recognizing that 200,000 has been earned. That's it. We need to add this point, add earned revenue in our previous profit because it will fix the incorrect profit now. I hope that it is understood. Point number 2. Sales for the year were $40 million with 60% of this amount sold on credit. Okay, so if you take 60% of 40 million, it gives you 24 million. I'm just using my mental maths. So 24 million is a credit sales and 16 million would be cash sales, obviously. Historically, the company has recognized 2% of all new accounts receivable as being uncollectible. Okay, so it means they are having a practice, they record their bad debts, 2% of their receivables, There was no entry made by accounting department to reflect potential uncollectible accounts for receivable. Okay, now first of all, you need to calculate what is the amount of credit sale. So 40 million times 60%. So this is your credit sale, 24 million. No, this was wrong calculation. 40 million times 60%. So 24 million is your credit sales, and you expect that 2% will be uncollectible. So just take its 2%, multiply by 0.02, that's 2%. Then 480,000 you are expecting to be uncollectible. So just pass an entry, bad debts debit and allowance for bad debts credit, because you need to create an allowance for bad debts in order to just make this prudence principle applicable. So allowance for bad debts would be credited as an allowance. So $480,000 would be recognized as expense because you are expecting this loss as per your previous practice. Because of this entry, bad debts is going to be income statement expense, and due to this expense increase, your unadjusted profit would decrease by 480,000. So I believe this is understood. Now, anything which is deductible should be shown in the bracket. So I am just writing its description. Because of bad debts expense, our income would drop. Now, let's move to entry number 3. Green Tea paid 350,000 in rent during the year for its office building, debiting rent expense, crediting cash. That's the problem, by the way. Upon further review by controller, 25% of cash paid represents a prepayment for the next year. Oh, it means out of 350,000, 25% is not belonging to this period. 25% mean 0.25. So 87,500 is a prepayment. Actually, the accountant made a mistake that instead of recording rent expense only up to the period for this year, he expensed out everything. So rent expense he recorded as 350,000. This was his mistake, and cash was credited by 350,000. But actually, we found out that 25% doesn't belong to this period. So we need to decrease expense by 87,500. So let's do that. We need to decrease the expense. Rent expense would be reversed. And what should be done, by the way? We need to recognize prepayment or prepaid rent expense, that is increase of our asset, and we need to reverse our rent expense which we expensed out everything. So rent expense would be decreasing 87,000. Let me confirm the value one more time. Yeah, 87,500. Because of this reversal of expense 87,500, our income would increase. That's why I need to adjust my unadjusted income. 87,500 would be added. So I'm not using any bracket symbol. That's mean it is added here. So reversal, I'm just writing its description. Reversal of rent expense. Okay. Number 4. The company paid advertising cost of 85,000 for new advertising campaign that will be aired on local television station in first 2 weeks of next operating year. This is the point. Next operating year mean this does not belong to this period. This expense does not belong to this period. Advertising expense. The journal entry recorded including debit to advertising expense and credit to cash amount. So that was the mistake of our accountant. Instead of debiting prepaid advertisement, he recorded everything as expense, advertisement expense. He recorded as debit instead of prepaid rent. It means he overstated the expense. And he recorded cash correctly. That cash was outflow. So cash account was credited by 85,000. So this was the wrong entry he made. Instead, he should have recorded prepaid advertisement prepaid advertisement expense. And now what we need to do, whatever mistake has been incurred, we need to reverse that. So we need to reverse our expense. So advertisement expense would be reversed. By how much? 85,000. So this is debit, this is credit. So now we've fixed it. After this entry, after rectifying this entry, what would happen to our incorrect profit? Our incorrect profit, because of the reversal of the expense, this is reversal of expense, would increase because previously we overstated the expense, and that's why this profit was dropped by 85,000. Now we need to add back this 85,000 because of reversal of expense. Fine. Now two more entries. Green Tea provided legal services to a major supplier during fourth quarter. Okay. The law department sent out a bill for 14,500 to its supplier prior to year end, but company did not record the transaction given expected delays with holidays mail. Okay. So basically this company has provided legal services to a client, and this bill was not recorded because the law department sent out bill to supplier prior to the year, but company did not record that. So if the company did not record that, that is error of omission, and technically speaking this is revenue earned already. So they should have recorded account receivable debit and earned legal service revenue should have been recorded as earned revenue, but they did not record it at all. So it means due to this error, our profit remained understated. Now, because of this entry, our profit would be increased by 14,500. So let's do that. 14,500 would be added to our incorrect profit. Because of this adjusting entry or rectifying entry, we are going to add earned legal service revenue, whatever you can describe it. Okay, one more entry, then our question is finished. On December 31st, the company handed out bonus letters to all staff employees related to their individual performance during the year. The bonus totaled 900,000 that will be paid next period. No accounting entries were made. Okay, so bonus, this is technically an expense for the company. Bonus expense should have been recorded, and bonus payable, that should be creation of liability, but no entry was made from accounting side. So we should record this expense. Because of increase of expense, our income would decrease by 900,000. Now previously our income was our income was incorrect previously, this figure. Now due to this error, which we fixed it now, 900,000 would further drop our income because we are going to pay bonus to employees based on their performance. Now, we will describe it as bonus expense increased in the income statement. Finally, we can declare that is our correct profit. Now, only one thing left. We need to just calculate the figures. Here we go. So let's use our calculator. First figure was 3685200, and then addition of 200,000, then deduction of 480,000, then addition of 87,500, then addition of 85,000, then addition of 14,500 and deduction of 900,000. And our correct profit is this much. So let's copy this value and then put it in our table that this is our correct profit. That's all. I hope that you understood how to rectify the errors, how to fix the unadjusted or incorrect profit after rectifying the entries. So just watch this video again. If you have any query, you can ask. Thank you very much.